Jaron Ennis, former unified champion at 147, jumping up to a new weight division.
I think this move to 154 showed he wants big fights.
We've all seen the criticism online, you know, how Boots is like, he needs 3 tune-up fights.
Yeah. And like, how many tune-ups are you going to need? Like a 30-year-old prospect.
All 4 sanctioning bodies have him as an elite fighter, even though he has yet to step foot inside the ring. So if he doesn't knock him out within the first round or 2, then he's going to leave people with a sour taste in their mouth.
The fans want to see him perform. Really important for him to show out, make a statement, and say, I'm a big player at 154.
I'm putting a lot of pressure on him because I know this guy is elite. Boots has the complete package of a fighter that you want to see inside the ring. But there's still a whole bunch of contenders that are top elite. And you got Madrimov, Bohacek,
like Erickson Lubin, El Mono Ramos, Brandon Adams.
Big opportunity for Boots. You know, he has to perform. I do think he has the skills to do it.
Welcome back to another episode of the Last Round Podcast, where we cover everything from traditional boxing to influencer boxing and everything in between. Today's episode, we'll be going over Boots Ennis' 154 debut against Lima, as well as the confirmed Lamont Roach against Pitbull Cruz, and the supposed rumor co-main event for that matchup featuring Janibek against Lara for unification at 160. But before we get into the episode, make sure to like and subscribe and follow us on all forms of social media. Lastly, we're trying to build up a community on Discord, and you guys joining would be greatly appreciated. And now, diving into the episode, it is officially fight week for Jaron Boots Ennis, who is making his 154 debut. Former unified champion at 147, jumping up to a new weight division, and I would say the best weight division in boxing. So to have Jaron Ennis in there is a great addition to an already stacked roster at the 154.
Yeah, I'm super excited to see Boots at 154. I mean, it opens up so many opportunities for him. So many mega fights are there. And this is really important. It's a really important fight. You know, he's already ranked in the top 10 of all the sanctioning bodies. And in 2 of them, he's ranked number 1. So he has a lot of hype going into the fight, and the fans want to see him perform. So really important for him to show out, make a statement, and say, I'm a big player at 154.
Well, yeah, I feel like he should have said something about it against like an opposition that I feel like the fans really wanted him to fight. Like, I think, Lima is, a ranked contender within that weight class, so he's an elite fighter, right? But I feel like, we've seen the move of quite a bit of fighters from the welterweight to the super welterweight, right? You got Ortiz, you got Crawford. Now he moved up even, farther up ahead and within the weight classes. But you got some of these guys who just within their first fight, like Ortiz, like right away, give me the toughest guy, give me the toughest Ukrainian that this division has to offer, and he performed. And I think we've all seen the criticism online, how Boots is like, he needs 3 tune-up fights. Yeah. That's very interesting. Ortiz didn't need any tune-up fights.
Oh, he had like 2 of those first-run knockouts when he first went up to 154. I don't remember if you remember. Before he fought Bohacek, he took on like these 2 somewhat tune-ups, but I mean, then again, right, he was coming off from like nearly dying on the scale.
That is true, but he made it easy work, and right away, like he had those first 2 tune-up fights, I guess, but he ended it quick, and then right away his next fight was already established, and then he really got that matchup with Bohacek. Like, for just 2 simple tune-up fights, like he made easy work. So if Boots isn't able to perform to that caliber as what we deem him to be, an elite fighter, all 4 sanctioning bodies have him as an elite fighter, even though he has yet to step foot inside the ring. So if he doesn't knock him out within the first round or 2, then I feel like he's gonna leave people with a sour taste in their mouth.
Yeah, putting a lot of pressure on him. And I definitely do think he's feeling it. Like this guy, he has so much hype. He has so much hype at 147. Now 154, everyone is still gassing him up. And we have, we have seen great skills by him. I definitely am sold. I really do think he's a phenomenal fighter. At 147, he was clearly the best by a mile. He could have gone undisputed. But, I mean, I think this move to 154 showed he wants big fights. You know, he wants to get a better resume, fight top quality opponents. And so hopefully he takes this guy out, Lima, fast in the first 3 rounds. And then he calls out one of the champions at the 154 or Virgil Ortiz. But he does have a fight in the future. So
Yeah, I mean, I saw a lot of people already make their wish list for fights for 2026, and Virgil Ortiz against Jaron Ennis is, a favorite among the fans regarding the matchup at 154. And I mean, we've talked about it before too, that they've always been teased, those two, to fight each other when they were both at the welterweight division. So we're gonna see them a bit more in their prime. I mean, I would say Virgil is more primed up just because he's such a big dude, and he wasn't dying on the scales at 154 as he was at 147. So I think that matchup should happen sometime soon next year. But regarding Boots, I mean, yeah, he's WBA ranked number 1, WBC ranked number 1. He's WBO ranked number 2, and he is IBF ranked number 6. So he does have a lot of hype. After his last fight against Stanionis, I was completely sold on him. Now sold on him prior to that when he fought Villa and such. But I think that a lot of the hate comes from, I feel like, the Crawford fans, more so because, they always see like some type of beef between the things that Boots be saying online about Crawford, how he thinks he could beat him or this and that. Or most recently, he said that he didn't even watch the Crawford and Canelo fight, that he had fallen asleep. And people took that as a sign of disrespect, saying, yo, like, this is the biggest fight in boxing of the year, and you're claiming that you fell asleep just because, quote unquote, maybe you don't like Crawford, this and that. So a lot of the fans, especially Crawford fans, have been on Boots recently based on his comments, his sparring sessions with Canelo. So it's definitely on his mind to prove a point this weekend and to showcase that he's here to make a big showing at the 154.
yeah, the Crawford fans have been going crazy online, and you can't say anything about them because their boy won. So they're on top of the world right now, and I think that is true. I think Ennis has made an enemy of Crawford, but I mean, Crawford's gone now. 154, he left that division, and he blessed somebody and elevated our newest email champion. So I can't read the guy's name. I mean, the guy's name's kind of hard to pronounce, but I mean, we got a new champion on 154, which is so interesting because I mean, this guy isn't let's say popular player. He doesn't have a big name. I don't even really know much about him, but he was elevated. Crawford gave him a little gift, a parting away gift from the division, and he elevated him. So it's interesting to see what this new champion is going to do. Because Ennis is ranked number 1 in that for his belt. So I mean, that's a fast track way to a title for Ennis. And how disrespectful would that be if Boots beats Lima this weekend? Then his next fight, he fights the champion. He wins the belt, and in 2 fights at 154, he becomes world champion. While Virgil Ortiz has had wars at 154, and he is still yet to become a full champion. He is the interim, but he has not touched the full WBC belt. So that'd be disrespectful, honestly.
I feel like that's just boxing. You know what I'm saying? I think that's modern boxing. I think a lot of people are just now elevated to ML championship status, and that's how the sport goes, I guess. Boxing has been here for a very long time, so I think it's kind of funny to see that. But yes, I think that African dude who had that tough battle against that American Cuban boxer. I guess it wasn't tough for him because this guy is tough as nails, this African dude, and he just came to fight.
He's German, actually.
Oh, is he German?
Yeah. What the heck?
Oh, okay.
If he's German.
Well, this German guy, he came in to fight, and he was very strong, and I could tell that, I don't know if he's going to be a really big player within the division, but I just know that when it comes to Boots, look, I'm putting a lot of pressure on him because I know this guy is elite. Like, he should go for an actual, champion or for, an interim champion. But for whatever reason, he wants to take his time. Okay, granted, but I can see him become a world champion. Fighting this German dude. Become a world champion and then being one of the top 4 players within that division, and then we can see big unification fights. Boots is smart. Boots is the complete package of a fighter that you want to see inside the ring. This guy moves really well on his feet, but he can also plant himself and exchange with his opponents. He has power in both hands. He can switch stances, and he has very superb defensive boxing skills, as well as timing and counterpunching skills. Like, this guy has everything. No matter at 147, it didn't matter who he was fighting, whether it could be a guy who is just a knockout artist or a guy who has more of a boxing abilities, that more of a touch and move fighter. Boots has shown that he is superb at 147, no matter what style was put in front of him. So I'm expecting him to put on a very good performance Saturday and then go for a belt in his next fight.
It's true, and he does have all those skills that you mentioned, but people still don't really regard him as a top 10 pound for pound fighter, and I think that's because his resume still needs a little bit of work, and that's why 154 is the perfect opportunity. There's so many big name fighters here. If he goes on a tear and becomes a unified champion or an undisputed champion at 154, this guy's shooting up to the top 3 pound for pound fighters in the world. So big opportunity for Boots. He has to perform. I do think he has the skills to do it. So we're gonna see how far he's able to go at 154.
Yeah, I believe. I think recently it was announced that Lima against Boots will be for the WBA interim. The current champion Abbas Barau, something like that. I'm sorry if I'm butchering it, but it's so interesting because even though supposedly it's gonna be for the interim belt for the WBA, there's rumors speculating that Xander Zayas rejected or doesn't want to take on Giovanni Santillan and would rather take on Abbas Barau for a unification at 154 for his homecoming. So there's some moving parts right now regarding the champions at 154. I mean, if the rumors are true that Xander Zayas is targeting the WBA champion, then that would mean that Boots will have to probably wait a little bit longer for his title shot. But at the same time, let's say that Xander Zayas becomes a unified champion. He's got 2 of the belts. They're going to be looking at him like food. I mean, some of these top contenders and even the other champions at 154. So, and we also, don't forget, we got Fundora fighting later this month against Thurman. So there's a lot of moving parts besides the IBF, where Bakram is still kind of in the shadows, not really unsure about who he's gonna fight next. But yeah, it's very interesting to see where the 154 division is moving.
Yeah, I mean, this Fundora fight with Thurman, I don't get it at all. I'm gonna be honest. Like, his best days are past him. He was a great champion at 147, but this guy never fights. Like, how is he getting an opportunity to fight Sebastian Fundora? It makes no sense to me. I think it should have been Fundora versus Ortiz for the interim. I mean, the Ortiz has the interim, so give him a shot. Instead, now Ortiz is fighting another super tough challenge in Erickson Lubin. That's going to be a hard fight for him. And Zayas, I mean, it's kind of smart by Zayas, I'm going to be honest. Top Rank knows what they navigate in his career real smart. He doesn't have the best names, the best competition, but hey, he has a belt. He has a belt, and he's going for 2. So I think it's pretty smart, honestly.
That's all that matters, right? You know what I'm saying? I think it's very funny, again, what you said. Ortiz has had wars at 140, 147, at 154, and yet he has become a champion in 3 different weight classes, but Zayas is now a champion. And, people deem, I guess maybe the public sentiment sees Xander Zayas as the weakest champion at that weight class. We have yet to see, the WBA champion, retain his title or, say anything else. But, it'd be it's the 154 division is still moving. There's still, even we're just mentioning those 4 guys, right? But there's still a whole bunch of contenders that are top elite. You know what I'm saying? You got Madrimov, Bohacek. You got the guy who lost that WBA title and lost it to the German dude. That guy's still elite. I mean, that guy was a sparring partner of Canelo Alvarez. Like, I think his name is Yoeli or something like that.
Yes, I think that's a different.
Deus.
I think
Yes, you're right.
I think you might be
Deus.
thinking of a
Yes.
different one.
Yeah, I think you're right.
yeah,
Yes, Deus. Deus is still like, you know, he lost, but he's still there. Like, that doesn't mean that one loss is gonna, you know, change how you fight or whatever. But they're still there. So, you know, Boots, I'm still gonna put the pressure on him. Like, I still want to see him fight. You know, he has Eddie Hearn behind him. Eddie Hearn can make boxing matches happen. You know, you know, he's not Turkey, right? But he's like just about there. You know what I'm saying? He's able to look what he did with Edgar Berlanga's career. You know what I'm saying? Like, if he can make Boots fight. You know, elite competition, get him a unification matchup. You know, he has a very good team, so I'm expecting a lot out of Boots at 154.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I think you're right with saying that, but I think Boots does benefit from moving up to the 154 just because of how stacked the roster is there. But yeah, I want to see him fight because, you know, you mentioned some of the fighters. You didn't even mention like Erickson Lubin. No. You didn't. There's El Mono Ramos.
Yeah, you also forgot to mention the best one, Tim Tszyu.
I think I don't think a lot of people are considering Tim Tszyu anymore at
Please,
this point.
Tim, the comeback in 2026. The title run starts now. Well, I believe
you got Brandon Adams, the dude who just came off from beating the shit out of Bohacek in their rematch. Yeah. So he now has hit the top 10 according to the WBC. So I mean, there's a lot of big names at the 154, and the champions are there. The fighters are there, and Boots has so many opportunities to get that resume solidified and to add names into it. And of course, I remember when this fight was announced, people online were completely bashing Boots, you know, calling them, saying like, how many tune-ups are you gonna need? Like a 30-year-old prospect, this and that. You know, they're all calling them all these names because they just weren't happy for at the matchup for his debut at 154. But I mean, if it's for the interim, then you can clearly see what they're trying to do, and they're trying to get Boots a belt as fast as they can so that he can become a 2-division world champion, and then that would solidify him as one of the best in the division, and also it would allow him to maybe just get, you know, things on his terms, being the A side as being the champion. So it's very interesting to see how Boots is coming in at the 154. But you guys want to give your official prediction?
Yes, I'm going to say Boots is gonna get the stoppage within under 4 rounds.
I agree. I think under 4 is a solid pick. I think he's gonna knock him out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't really know much about Lima. I saw someone post a clip of him saying, yo, this is the guy that Boots is fighting. Boots in like 2 or 3, something like that. But I'm predicting Boots also to win by knockout. There just isn't any reason for me to believe otherwise, and Boots clearly needs a big performance this weekend, so I'm sure he has knockout stoppage in his mind for this fight. So I'm predicting the stoppage too. I think under 4 rounds would be solid. I think it would be a good way to showcase and arrive to the 154. But you know, now that we talked about that, you know, that was the matchup for this weekend. Boxing at the moment, it's a little stale. I saw Dan Cabello on X talk about it, saying like, yo, like it's kind of boring right now. So
yeah, especially after that Canelo and Crawford, I feel like the whole boxing kind of like went silent a little bit. You know, there was so much noise. For that fight, the promotion and stuff. It was on Netflix. You know, Turkey, Riyadh season, Celeb promotion, the company, TKO promotions as well. I mean, there was so much hype going into it. I think now. And I think we're also like used to that as well. We are fight fans, so sometimes I feel like boxing has become a little bit stagnant after like these big mega fights.
Yeah. It's okay though, because Jake Paul is gonna bring back the hype for boxing.
Who's he fighting? Oh yeah, Javante. That's next month. No, but I mean October for right now is pretty dead. But you know, we last week we were actually talking about a rumored matchup for later in the year, and turned out to be true. We got Lamont Roach going up all the way to 140 to take on Isaac Pitbull Cruz, and that's I was. Like I said, it was a rumor there when we talked about it last week, but now it's pretty much just officially confirmed by the Ring and Mike Coppinger and whatnot. So it's very interesting to see that matchup. Now that it's confirmed, I saw people once again talking about it, and I saw people claiming that Pitbull was going to knock him out now. They're saying that stylistically, Lamont Roach did well against Gervonta Davis, but Pitbull Cruz style is going to be way different. It's going to be problems for Lamont Roach, and he's going to be too much. Just the aggressiveness and the power that Pitbull Cruz brings to the table is not a style suited for Lamont Roach. And what are you guys' thoughts about that?
I think for me, I feel like the one thing that surprised me was the fact that that he's gonna go into Hispanic territory. He's gonna go to Texas, San Antonio. Best believe Cruz is going to have the majority of the fans the day of the weigh-ins, and then the night of the fight, there's it's going to be a pro-Mexican crowd, a pro-Cruz crowd, and yet he's moving up another weight class and challenging a very tough Mexican, a Mexican that has power in both hands and that could stop his opponents with one punch, honestly, and within one round. So to me, for the people that saw last week's episode, they kind of know who I'm writing for, but still very much surprised, that Roach, has this much confidence, given the recent performance against Tank, for him and his team to be in agreement and go, let's just go up to 140 and take on a rugged Mexican. I mean, I think for me, I don't know if it's going to switch my stance, but on who I'm picking for, but it's very interesting to see the confidence that Team Roach is oozing.
Yeah, he's a dog, man. You got to respect it. He wants the smoke. He was asking for that Davis rematch. He was going on and on about that, and Jake Paul stole his opponent, but that didn't stop him. Like we were saying last week, this is a perfect opportunity for Lamont Roach. That's why when I heard these rumors, I kind of thought they were true because it makes so much sense. Like it's a win-win, honestly, for both fighters. So great to see it. Great to see this fight being made, and it's interesting. Yeah, we're gonna have to see a different side of Lamont Roach for this fight. He's not gonna be able to fight him like he fought Tank. With Tank, he was in front of him. He was, flat-footed, kind of just using kind of waist movements because Tank is in a counterpuncher, so he wasn't really initiating. But if you stand in front of him, if you stand in front of Pitbull like that, Pitbull is going to swing at you, man. Combination after combination. So we're going to have to see a different side of Lamont Roach. We'll see if he has it in him, but I'm guessing it's going to be a fantastic fight.
Yeah, it's rumored rumor confirmed. I don't know, December 6th, down in Texas. It should be, as of right now, that might be you got the Inoue and Picasso, but it's one of the last few big showdowns of the year. And it's a pretty good send-off for 2025. And, since that fight, I would assume would be the headliner, the co-main event, wasn't it rumored for a unification bout? Yeah, so the co-main event, as of right now, rumored to be a middleweight unification between Janibek and Lara. Now, we rarely talk about the middleweight division ever since we started the channel, but every time we do bring it up, we often just kind of bash it and say how absolutely barren of a division it is. But we're finally, after how many years of us doing this podcast, like two years or so, we're finally getting some movement at the 160.
Yeah, I feel like this, ever since Triple G and Canelo left 160, no one really cared. And then there's only one man that has, right away, once he went up to 160 and, all the belts were available, he decided to take one and was like, Kazakh power. And Janibek is the only guy that has basically reigned at the middleweight, which is the reason why it's been a little bit, there has been not much noise since, other than him.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. If we would have started this channel when it was when Triple G was tearing through everyone and Canelo was there, we would have had plenty of content for the 160, but not anymore. It fucking amazes me that Erislandy Lara is a world champion. At 42, it's really insane to me, but. He's a world champion, and this is what Janibek needs, man. Like he's a great fighter. And, unfortunately, he's in a division that doesn't have the best names, the biggest names, and he doesn't have a big name either. But he does have the skills, so he needs to make some noise, and you're gonna make noise by getting accolades, becoming unified champion, hunting down the other champions, going undisputed. Then people will start taking notice of you. They'll think more about you. So I think it's smart by him. I think this is way overdue. The 160 champions don't really even interact with each other, so it's good that we're actually getting some unifications in the division, and then hopefully Janibek can get his name bigger and hopefully get a super fight.
Yeah, I was gonna say Janibek. He's currently unified champion, the IBF and WBO, and he's been for some time now calling out for Carlos Adames to take him on since he's the WBC. But I mean, I think everyone assumes at this point that Adames is the one who's ducking the fight. Hence why he decided to finally, change directions and target Erislandy Lara, who, I mean, the rumors are speculating that he is down for that unification fight against Janibek. So, yeah, the 160, Janibek definitely the big head honcho and who runs the division, and I would say is the boogeyman of the middleweight. But I mean, people often say, just go up to 168. Go up to the super middleweight division and test your luck there. But I think Janibek in his head still feels that he has unfinished business at the middleweight. And I think he's mainly trying to target Carlos Adames out of all the people there.
Yeah, for sure. Look, I think, Janibek is from, Eastern Europe, and they really see the sport of boxing, especially maybe professionally, in a different light than what Americans or maybe American boxers see it. He stayed at 160, and, I think, he hasn't gotten those unification fights that he wants. He hasn't really gotten, elite competition. And, I think if he were to go up to 168, he could fight guys who do have some type of a fan base, and Janibek could get a bigger purse, for a fight. But, he wants to make history, he's making history, being from the country that he's at, he is a unified champion. This guy had an outstanding amateur record as well. This guy has been a professional fighter for a while now, and he's remained champion for a while now. And I think before he even wants to go up to 160, I think he wants to become a unified champion at 160. He wants to make history. He would be the only guy to do that at that weight class. So I think that's what he wants to do. The one thing is, I find it very funny that there's two other champions, and yet he's now choosing Lara. I would have gone for Lara right away. You know what I'm saying? Given that, his age and whatnot. But, Adames probably is avoiding him. But, yeah, Janibek, getting this recognition against on a big card like this, I think is something that he really wanted and he's been looking for. So, props to him. He's a patient man, and now he's finally getting the accolades or maybe the things that he wants, which is, a fight on a big stage with a lot of people watching.
Well, he better hurry up and finish this unfinished business at 160 because there's no one there for him. Okay, Adames, that's an interesting fight. I ain't gonna lie. I'd like to see that. But if he doesn't want to fight, bro, come on, let's jumpstart the career. He has accolades, right? He's a champ. He's a world champion, obviously, but this he has good skills. He should be fighting big name guys to test his competition, and I don't think he really has a strong resume. He always just knocks people out, and it's cool. I mean, keep defending your title, but come on, let's do more. Let's do more. So You better hurry up. I don't want him to see him at 160 no more. I want to give him a super fight, bro. Let me put him to the test.
Super fight would be against Chris Eubank Jr. because Chris Eubank Jr. I would say is the best guy at the 160. I'm kidding, no, but yeah, I mean, look, I would rather see him not fight Adames and go up to super middleweight rather than just watch him wait for Adames to finally decide to fight him. So I mean, there's big match. There's still big names at the 168, way bigger names than the middleweight division at the moment. I mean, you could get like a showdown against Diego Pacheco, maybe Lester Martinez, Christian Mbili, Caleb Plant, Resendiz. You know, there's names for him. Like Macumbi. There's names for him at the 168 if he ever decides to go up. And I'm hoping it happens sometime next year if he's, you know, not able to get that showdown against what's his name,
Adames.
Adames. So I mean, Janibek has the skills, he has the titles, he just lacks the name, and ultimately he lacks the fan base. And yeah, I agree with you. It's good that, you know, he's rumored to be the co-main event for the Lamont Roach and Pitbull Cruz, because I mean, he's not really well known. When he does headline, he headlines, you know, internationally
in a random venue.
Yeah, it's smaller crowd, you know, it's on top rank. So he's gonna get like a big pay-per-view showing when it comes to Pitbull Cruz and Lamont Roach and in front of a Mexican crowd. So if he's able to whoop the shit out of Erislandy Lara, then that's going to be a huge growth in his stock, and it's going to be something that his career desperately needs, and hopefully gets his career up and running.
Yeah, I mean, if he knocks out or just completely wipes the floor with Lara, I mean, there's going to be a whole bunch of Mexicans. I mean, then he can have like maybe a little small percentage of Mexicans, you know, following his career now, because they're going to be like, wow, this guy just knocked out this Cuban. And I guess within Janibek's record, the KO ratio isn't bad. You know, it's high up there, you know, a high KO ratio. Although he doesn't really fight like that, and normally kind of like takes his time with it, depending on the opponent and the style. But, you know, Janibek is entertaining. He does have entertaining stoppages and stuff. So if he does get the stoppage, I mean, it would be the world to him, I guess. And then maybe it would apply more pressure to Adames to, you know, maybe unify. And maybe some of these organizations will want to fucking push for that as well.
Yeah, I think he could definitely do it. I mean, what the hell is Lara doing as a world champion, bro, 42? Even though, low-key, we were talking about it before we started filming, Lara's been on a run recently, man. He's got like the past 4 fights, he's gotten by KO or TKO. And obviously, back in the day, back in his prime at 147, he was like a slick boxer. You know, when he fought Canelo, he was like a textbook Cuban fighter. You know, when you say Cuban fighter, Lara was like the perfect example of it. But so I haven't really been watching him fight recently because, I mean, he kind of faded away into the shadows, as did the whole 160 division. But I mean, I don't know if I'm sure he's gonna revert back to his Cuban style when it comes to fighting. I just forgot his name. Janibek. So I'm sure he's going to revert back to that style, but I think Janibek definitely got the size and the skills to break him down, and I'm expecting him to stop him.
Yeah, it should be good. I mean, maybe if he's able to, Janibek, if he's able to perform well as the co-main event, they'll consider him the next Gennady Golovkin. Yeah, I mean, they're from the same place, so that comparison will probably be made, especially if he wins by stoppage. But yeah, it should be good. I'm glad Janibek is finally getting a big fight in a big stage, and it's one that he honestly desperately needed in his career, especially if he wants to get some type of increase his fan base and increase his chances at more big fights, either at the 160 against Adames or going up to 168 and taking on some of the competition there. I mean, you can get him against William Skoll. Imagine if he stops and whoops the shit out of William Skoll.
Another Cuban?
Yeah, and they're going to be like, yo, Canelo couldn't do this. So it's going to be like a huge thing. I mean, Terrence Crawford also kind of flirting with the middleweight division. I mean, Janibek himself personally called him out as well. So Janibek has options. He just doesn't really. I don't know. I don't know. There's something going on with his management that doesn't allow him for these big fights. But this is a good start to a hopefully big 2026 for Janibek.
Yeah, and I feel like, Janibek, if he actually performs well, look, my prediction is that I'm gonna go with Janibek, right? But I wouldn't be surprised if Lara just out of nowhere, he's able to pour up a decent performance. You know what I'm saying? He is 42, but for a Cuban, that's not that bad.
Yeah, that's like 30. That's like 34 for everybody else. I swear.
But so I'm expecting Janibek to look good, perform good, and then the flirting with the idea of Janibek never having the eyes, never having a massive following, or never having those eyes every time he fights. He never has that. If he's able to unify 3 out of the 4 belts, I'm pretty sure the other sanctioning bodies are going to put pressure on Adames. If Janibek is able to become a unified champion, an undisputed champion at that weight class, I mean, Crawford right now is still riding on that very big high against Canelo. I mean, who's to say that Crawford wouldn't want to make history yet again and go for 4-time undisputed in 4 different weight classes?
That'd be insane. Like, that'd actually be out of a movie, bro. I swear. Crawford would definitely be the #1 fighter of all time. Like, no questions asked. But I don't think Crawford's going to do that, honestly. Just for the simple fact that Janibek isn't a big name. And even if he goes undisputed, and he'll get more recognition, and that might be a little incentive because, like you said, it'd make historic once again. I don't think Crawford would do it because I think that's too far into the future. Crawford's already 38, and it's just not. Crawford right now in his career, he just wants big names. He just wants that money. He wants that bag. So I don't see it happening, but that would be a fantasy matchup for the ages, bro.
Yeah, I mean, you also have little bro Shakur Stevenson whispering in Bud's ear, "You should retire." Yeah, he wants him to retire too. Bomac said he has 2 or 3 more fights. Like, it's like what, 2 or 3, or is he kind of thinking about retiring? So I mean, we're still kind of like in the unknown. But I mean, I would say like 1 to 2 fights, I think, is realistically, at least for me, what I'm seeing as of Crawford's career. 1 or 2 fights. So I mean, Janibek needs to, if he really wants to get like an even bigger, like if he wants to headline a mega fight and maybe get Crawford to go down to 160, he would have to like get the ball rolling and make this all unification fights happen at that weight class. But as of right now, who knows? It's interesting. It's interesting to see. To think about that. And as of right now, it's still rumored. We don't know if he's actually going to fight Lara.
Yeah, so we still have yet to see what Crawford decides to do, and for it to be officially confirmed regarding Janibek and Lara as the co-headliner for Lamont Roach against Pitbull Cruz December 6th, end of the year of 2025. But I think we covered everything that we wanted to cover for today's episode. Let us know down below. Do you think that Carlos Adames is ducking Janibek? Do you also think that Ennis can become undisputed at 154 at his new weight division? Let us know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments section below. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe and follow us on all forms of social media. We are on X, Instagram, and TikTok. Lastly, we're trying to build up a community on Discord, and you guys joining would be greatly appreciated. But this was Pablo, and I was Rudo and Asa, and this was the Last Round Podcast. Thank you for watching.